It's about time all of you showed up. I was thinking I was gonna have to perform another bounty with you all waiting so long just to get in here. Finally, we can go ahead and get this started. Tired of waiting.
But I'm just messing with you guys. Just wanted to mess with my voice modulator just a little bit. Good to see you, Kohagen. Good to see you, Okada-san. And good to see you, Psycho. As always, yo peoples, Kyushu92 here. And welcome back to yet another One Piece chapter reaction and review. I am really looking forward to checking out this chapter. Let's go ahead and get started because can we just talk about how Oda gave us not only the full nature of Luffy's gum fruit, but known in the past as the Hito Hito no Mi mythical type Zoan fruit, the human fruit model Nika, that turns him into a literal god of some kind with cartoony effects. Not only did we get the reveal of Luffy's Zoan Devil Fruit, not Paramecia, but Zoan Devil Fruit that he has, but also saw in that same instance Awakening and Gear 5. So let's see what chapter 1045 has for us today. Ooh, color page! Sea of Liberty! And it has the entire Straw Hat crew, I guess on this like a ocean liner or a steamboat. Zoro's chilling. We got the entire crew there. Jinbei at the helm, as he should be because he's the helmsman. This is a nice color page. Should probably pay attention because you never know when Oda's hiding some sort of future chapter or future saga secrets in here. I mean, he did that with the one of the past color cover page from 1028, where he hid the appearance of Gear 5 Luffy right in that page. But let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 1045, Next Level. And then it has someone's wheezing. And then I guess this is Kaido saying, I was certain that you were dead. And then Luffy's in the air bouncing off the ground because the ground is actually turned to rubber around him as he's bouncing off of it. And Luffy responds by saying, "Me too!" He's gone insane. Luffy has fundamentally lost his mind with this awakening. He's just laughing like crazy. And Kaido says, "Given that you're transferring your rubber power to other things, I suppose I can interpret this as the awakening of your Paramecia powers. But something doesn't add up. Body transformations like that are the trademark of Zoan powers!" Because Kaido doesn't know that Luffy has his own fruit. He just thought that since he could stretch, that Luffy has been a Paramecia type all this time. But it's confusing him on how Luffy has transformed. And and Kaido is all like, "What? This isn't right. Your rubbery body is that of a Paramecia, but you transforming is that of a Zoan." And as Kaido says this, he says, "Body transformations like that are the trademark of Zoan powers." He tries to chomp on Luffy, and Luffy is just bouncing in the air, hands behind his head, and he's looking at Kaido like, like lackadaisically. And he bites down on Luffy. And then he says, "Why you?" And apparently, Kaido swallowed Luffy. Luffy says, "Why you?" And then Kaido chomps down and he swallows him. But during the whole thing, Luffy is wreaking havoc on Kaido's insides. And he's going through Kaido's body, like zigzagging, like boom, 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 going in his body. And then he says, "Gum, gum, balloon!" And he goes full gum, gum, balloon inside of Kaido. And this kind of makes Kaido kind of gag a little bit because Luffy's inside of his body and he's just inflating himself. Like, inflating himself, and this is kind of really hurting. This is hurting Kaido. His outside is very hard to damage, but insides, you cannot toughen up organs. So Luffy is inside Kaido. He went full Gum Gum Balloon, and I can't tell if Luffy is floating in the air because he's gone balloon, or if Kaido's the one still floating in the air. Yamato sees this, and Momonosuke sees this, because remember, Momonosuke has stopped pulling Onigashima and has made his way to the roof due to the words that Zunisha told him that Luffy was Joy Boy. So they both head up there, and then Momonosuke is saying, "What is that? What is happening? I don't understand. Kaido is getting fatter." And then Yamato is saying, "Was that also one of his forms?" And then Kaido says, "Curses! What's wrong with me? My body isn't made of rubber." And then Luffy says, "Oh, I see two lights." What in the world? Luffy has fundamentally become a cartoon. Because when Luffy says, "Oh, I see two lights," Luffy shoots his hands out of Kaido's very eyes. And Kaido's just all like, "Ah!" Oda, okay, Oda. So you're gonna go full Looney Tunes today? Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing today? "Oh, I see two lights. Gum Gum." And his hands just come straight through Kaido's eyes, not breaking through his eyes. They just come out of it. They just come out of his eyes and grab onto the front of Kaido's nose. And this kind of shocks Kaido. And then he says, "Gum Gum, escape rocket!" And then he forces himself. He goes through Kaido's body with his hands, and then he grabs onto Kaido's nose through his eyes, and then he uses the what is the word? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's a word that he used the retraction. Sorry, I was so dumbfounded on that word. He uses the retraction of his rubber body to shoot himself out, to slingshot. He slingshots himself out of Kaido's mouth forcefully, and Kaido just spits him up. Gum Gum, escape rocket! And then Luffy, going full, still in his balloon shape, just laughs. He's just, and then he starts spitting out the air, and then he shoots up into the air. And Momonosuke and Yamato are watching all of this happen, and Luffy says, "Gum Gum!" And then we see Yamato and Momonosuke looking shocked. Next page. Whoa! Yo! Gum Gum Giant? Yo! Luffy just made his entire body as big as Kaido. He turned himself into a... He turned himself into a giant. Wow. The Gorosei were not kidding when they said that the power of Nika allows the user to do anything with their body that they choose. And the only limit is the imagination. Luffy just turned himself into a literal giant. His whole body has grown to the size of a giant now. And it shows Kaido airborne above Kaido, and Kaido is shocked to see this, speechless and shocked. And then Momonosuke says, "What is that? Why do I hear Luffy's voice coming from there? Is that him?" And Kaido bites into Luffy. Now, mind you, Luffy is not bigger than Kaido, but he's around Kaido's size. And as Kaido bites into Luffy, Luffy says, "Gum gum," and grabs multiple places around Kaido. He grabs Kaido by the horns on the top of his head, and then he grabs around Kaido's body. Let us not overshadow the fact that Luffy is capable of gripping Kaido's body in his one hand. Not like Kaido's body is in one section and he's gripping a part of it. He's gripping around Kaido's body in almost entirely. Gum gum. Jump rope. Gum gum jump rope. Oda is fully embracing the cartoons in this, isn't he? He's fully embracing this. Luffy uses gump rope. I was about to say gump rope. Gum jump rope, and he's actually jumping rope with Kaido in the air as they fall. As he's, I don't know, gonna suplex Kaido into the Flower Capital. But while this is going on and Luffy has Kaido in his grip, Kaido releases a point blank Poro Bresse, and it hits Luffy, and Luffy just says, "Yo!" Some of these things that Luffy is saying sounds like something a cartoon character would say. Just, "Yo! Ow!" Stuff like that. And then he gets hit with the Bolo Breath completely. And Yamato says, "Oh no, he took the full brunt of the blast breath." And as it shows Luffy in a far distance with like a mini singed afro in the upper half of his body singed black, he's falling. And then he opens his eyes and he says, "That does it." And then it shows Luffy. Bruh, Luffy is a full cartoon. Yo, Luffy can do anything now. Because he says, "That does it." And then he starts revving up his feet like Sonic from the Sega Genesis games. And in midair, stops and runs on the air. And in the same panel, sets fire to the air. He starts running in the air, and the air where his feet are starts catching fire. Then he just poofs in one direction like Roadrunner. He's just like, meep, meep, and then just shoots right back over to the Flower Capital because he was actually a considerable distance away. I mean, Onigashima looks like this small in the distance. That's how far Luffy got blasted. But in an instant, he just revs up in the air, full spin dash Sonic style, and then shoots off towards Onigashima again, leaving a trail of fire in the middle of the air. Luffy is fully a cartoon. He's a rubber hose, Looney Tunes, old school Disney before they started becoming less Disney cartoon. And Kaido has gone into his hybrid form as Luffy comes up and says, "Gum gum," and then Kaido says, "Conqueror of 3 worlds, Ragnarok!" And then it shows Luffy's head, his full-size head, going through the roof of Onigashima, literally shocking everyone in the performance floor. Like he has an Auga face. A literal Auga face. And his eyes come out of his skulls. Then we cut to everyone's reaction. Law's eyes pop out of his head. I'm not kidding. Luffy's awakening is affecting everybody. Not just his opponent, but everyone who's around, because Law's eyes are popping out of his head, Kid's eyes are popping out of his head, Chopper's eyes are popping out of his head, Nami's eyes are popping out of her head, and Tama's eyes are popping out of her head. And this is serious because there are blank sockets where their eyes should be. So Luffy's awakening is not only affecting the environment around him, but pretty much everyone in the immediate vicinity. because this may be the only time we ever see Law and Kid's eyes popping out of their skulls. This isn't figurative. This is literally. Their eyes are popping. Everyone's eyes are popping out of their skulls, seeing Luffy's enormous giant face come slamming through the roof. And then Luffy's face goes shooting back up to the roof again, and it starts squeezing, like starts forcing its way back through the hole in the roof, and then it just pops right back up to the roof again. And then it shows Luffy's face coming right back up to where Kaido is. And Kaido's just kind of silent. He's just looking on and he's just saying, "It's like something from a comic strip." Like, Kaido's kind of done. He's just like, "This is ridiculous. Everything that's happening right now is like some sort of weird old school cartoon." And then Luffy sits back up again and he says, "Oof!" Like the words oof. He says, "Oof!" And Kaido says, "Well, that was a very entertaining show, but you've reached your limit, haven't you? You cannot defeat me." And then Luffy just says, "Shut up!" Not shut up, shut up. Like, shut up! Like, Looney Tunes. Oda must have been watching some Looney Tunes when he created this. He had to. There's too many references. Good God. And then Luffy says, "Who says I'm at my limit?" And then Luffy's hair starts losing that color. He starts losing that color and his face starts getting haggard. And then his face actually starts to sag. And he's massively tired now. And then Luffy just says, "I'm all tuckered out." And then Kaido says, "Who are you?" And then he just slams his Kanabo into the ground. And he's just huffing to himself as he kneels to the ground as well. See, Luffy's tired, but Kaido is tired as well. And then Luffy starts saying, "Oh yeah, I was dying before this. Wow, it takes a lot of energy." And then Kaido says, "You have my assurances. After you die, someone will tell the tale of your great battle." And then Luffy says, "I don't need any of that. Once we're dead, the only thing that's left is bones." And then Luffy starts laughing again. Oh, yo, can I just say something? I never noticed, but Luffy's clothes were affected by this awakening as well, because his clothes turned back red again. And they were a different color before. But as he's saying this, Yamato says, "It really is Luffy. It just doesn't look like him because his hair and clothes turned white." So we have a confirmation of what the color actually is of Luffy's body. His hair turns white and his jacket turns white. He turns into a black and white rubber hose animation cartoon. "It really is Luffy. It just doesn't look like him because his hair and clothes turn white." And then Momonosuke says, "But his voice is nearly dying out." And then Luffy says, "This can't end yet. Momo, Tama, Kinemon, Pedro." And then, he brought up Pedro's name after all this time. And then Kaido says, "Careful or you'll die." And then Luffy gets down in a stance that's just like his second gear, his gear secondo stance. And he starts emanating Conqueror's Haki out of his body. And he says, "You actually think I'm afraid of that? Come on, heart, hit that beat." And then his heart starts beating that rhythmic tune. And as Kaido's preparing to hit him, Kaido says, "Very well then." And then Luffy's heart starts beating the Drums of Liberation beat. And then as Kaido's preparing to hit him from the back, Yamato says, "Look out, Luffy!" And then Luffy looks in that direction, and as Kaido's Hasaikai comes over, Luffy's head gets hit by the Hasaikai completely. What is Luffy now? What is Luffy right now? What is he? When he gets hit, his body, his head completely melds into the shape of the Hasaikai. Even the spikes that are coming out of Kaido's club, Luffy's head just melts into it. It doesn't get hit by it. It just flows into the shape. Even one of the spikes that is in Luffy's face becomes Luffy's nose shape. His body just completely goes full Play-Doh and turns into the shape of Kaido's Kanabo. And Yamato is just utterly speechless as she just looks with blank eyes like, what? Like, that's what I'm thinking. And then Luffy starts running away from Kaido with his face still in that shape, running away with Sonic the Hedgehog spinny legs, just going, ow! And Kaido tries to smash the ground, but as he does so, the entire ground kind of rubberly. What is going on with Luffy? The entire ground gives way underneath him. It goes full rubbery and kind of just folds underneath him. It doesn't get completely destroyed. It just folds from the rebound. And then as his Kanabo comes back up, the rebound shoots Luffy straight into the air. And then Luffy his body gets squashed. Perfect timing. I had a feeling my family was going to call me. I knew they were. But Luffy's body goes from having the shape, his head is just shaped like Play-Doh. His body's Play-Doh now. His head is shaped like Kaido's Hasaikai. Then after he gets shot up in the air from the ground, retracting itself, he then gets squashed. He gets squashed from the retraction. And he goes flying off in a whole different direction. And then after he hits a pillar over on the other end, he says, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait. He says 3, 2, 1. Sorry, I'm reading it wrong. He says 3, 2, 1, 0. And then he shoots off in the direction of Kaido. And he starts spinning his whole body around. And Kaido's thinking to himself, what does all this mean? He turns all white. He uses the colors of Armament and the Supreme King, and can transfer his power to other things? I'd never seen such freewheeling combat before. And then Kaido says, there is no one in this world who can defeat me! After Kaido says that, Luffy's fist goes straight through his face. I don't think y'all heard me. As Luffy is spinning his body like a top going towards Kaido, Kaido says there's no one in this world who can beat me. And as he says this, Luffy's fist goes straight through Kaido's skull. It even shows the shocked face of Momonosuke and Yamato as Luffy's face just went through Kaido's face, not just hit his face, and then his face is just embedded in that, because that's also what's happening. Kaido's face is indented around the entry point of Luffy's fist, and Luffy's fist has gone straight through out the back of Kaido's head. And it just shows Kaido coughing up blood. Like there's blood coming from Kaido from this punch, and Kaido has fallen completely over. Luffy hit Kaido one time in the face, and Kaido just went down. And the last thing we see of this chapter is Luffy saying, "Isn't this fun, Kaido?" And he's just smiling. This wasn't even a named attack. He just punched Kaido. And Kaido just went down. And he had to have been hit with Conqueror's Haki because it shows the black lightning coming off of him. And that's the end of the chapter. Luffy just went full mask. Luffy just went full mask. Wow. I did not expect this chapter to be one where Luffy is just toying with Kaido. Remember when Kaido did that to Luffy the first time? What is this? Let me just see what you guys have said. Okay, Ogata-san, Muddy's here, Blaziken, Julian, CJ. What the heck did I just witness? I just witnessed a person who is called the strongest creature in the world get manhandled by a Looney Tune. We just witnessed one of the most powerful individuals that we've seen in One Piece just get toyed with by the One Piece version of Bugs Bunny. And this isn't a break chapter. This is not a break chapter. What else is gonna happen after seeing Luffy punch through Kaido's skull? Now, mind you, let me say this. Kaido's doesn't have like a giant gaping hole in his face somehow. But it begs the question, how did Kaido just survive having his entire face punched through? Now, it did hurt him. It hurt him. But how did... I keep forgetting that the nature of this devil fruit is that it gives not only the user cartoon-like qualities, but also gives the opponent cartoon-like qualities as well. So he just punched straight through Kaido, and the effects of the awakened Hito Hito no Mi has allowed Kaido to survive, but he still got hurt in the process still. This might be the most overpowered devil fruit we've ever seen. And this is coming from someone who's just awestruck whenever I see Logias or Kizaru or Kainu or Fujitora doing whatever they want. This might be the most overpowered devil fruit we've seen, because this lets a person do whatever they want. Not only have we seen Luffy get swallowed by Kaido, expand inside Kaido, shoot his hands out of Kaido's eyes to launch himself and force himself back out of Kaido after Kaido swallowed him, but Luffy turned himself into a giant by sheer force of will, cannot be affected by Kaido's attacks. Let me just say this. Kaido tried to use one of the most powerful attacks we've seen him use, which is Conqueror of Three Worlds, Ragnarok, which we've seen body Luffy effortlessly in the past. But Luffy just took that attack in his Gear 5 awakened state, and the only thing that happened to Luffy was Luffy just saying, "Ow, that hurt," and his face being in the shape of the Kanabo. That's it. He says ow, but there's not a mark on him. and he gets hit multiple times. His body keeps shape-shifting multiple times, and then he pretty much ends this chapter by punching straight through Kaido's skull. This might be one of the most overpowered devil fruits we've seen, because the dude not only can run on midair. He got launched away by Kaido, got hit with his bolo breath, singed black like he's out of a Looney Tunes cartoon or Tom and Jerry cartoons, without the, racial connotations that they portrayed back then in those cartoons. And he gets singed black. He says that does it. And he starts revving up his legs like he's Sonic the Hedgehog. And in midair, just with fire trailing behind him, runs back to Kaido in midair. This truly is the devil fruit of freedom. Hey, Brandon, what's going on? I'm going to get with you in a bit. I'm going to need to, I got nothing else planned today, but I do want to do a stream of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands with you. So after I get some food and after I eat, for you guys as well, I'm going to be doing a stream of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands where I finally hit level 40. Where I finally take on those side missions. Oh wait, I still need to upload the epilogue part. I'll do the stream after I do the epilogue. I'll upload that first, and then Brandon, I'll get with you if you're free. Luffy used the observation haki to dodge Kaido's attack. You can see how Luffy expects the attack in the same panel, just like Katakuri. Luffy just channeled Katakuri and shaped his body around Kaido's Kanabo. Just like Katakuri. Yo, let me see what all you guys have said this whole time. He's getting through his eyeballs, first head and chicken butt man. Now this Luffy is hilarious but scary. Luffy's ready for Elbaf. I thought the same thing when Luffy went full giant. I was thinking to myself, so this is what would have happened if Luffy allowed Gear 3rd to go through his entire body and not just through a limb. I was thinking that. I didn't say that, but I was just thinking, so this is what Gear 3rd looks like in its completeness. It's like a fully complete Susanoo now. It's not just half on one section of the body. It's full-bodied Susanoo. Big Mom is not a giant. Luffy, she. Hannah and Barbera called and asked for their cartoons back. Yeah, they're not getting it back. Now Luffy needs a carrot. What's up, Doc? Like, seriously. Oda saw too much cartoons. There is no such thing as too much cartoons. There is no such thing. No such thing. I watched a whole bunch of cartoons growing up, and I turned out just fine. Luffy with one piece of meat on his hand. Yeah, what's up, Doc? Yeah, not a carrot, but a piece of meat. I imagine Luffy screaming like Tom when he gets an anvil on his foot. Or, you know the screams that Tom does from Tom and Jerry. Wario and the Mask Luffy. Wario Luffy. This chapter almost makes me want to watch Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner cartoons for the rest of the day. Look, I might just chill and watch some Looney Tunes just to see how many influences Oda got from them for this chapter alone. Imagine Oda planning this from at least the time skip, how many times he was holding the wish to draw this. See, Oda's a genius when he comes to foreshadowing, but I can imagine there have been moments where he thinks, ooh, maybe I could do this here. No. Now's not the right time. Oda must have some serious self-control to keep himself from prematurely revealing stuff like this before their time. You realize how much people really get overly antsy and just want to spoil stuff ahead of time? Looking at every single one of you that decides to try and spoil what's going on about One Piece chapters days before they're officially released on Viz, I'm looking straight at you. If it doesn't apply to you, then don't worry about it. But imagine the restraint you have to hold to be like, oh, I can't wait for them to read this. But I got to pace myself. There's still several more chapters to go through before we get to this point. Imagine the level of restraint on Oda to hold back all this time and not prematurely reveal things before it's ready. This man has God levels of patience. This is a nice chapter. Oda showing what Gear 5 can do. Time for Kaido's awakening to show. Ooh, we still got that. Hey, CJ, how are you? Your Tom scream was a 10 out of 10. Not bad for someone who hasn't really practiced. For someone who doesn't really practice Tom screams. But this was a good chapter. And it got me out of my seat. So it was already fantastic. But, oh my, this is ridiculous. Hold on. We need to go to the Hito no Mi to see if anything has changed for the description of the Hito no Mi model Nika. Because it said it not only affects opponents, but during this whole chapter, it affects everyone in the vicinity of Luffy. So, seeing as how it affects everyone in the vicinity of Luffy and Luffy hasn't touched him, I would imagine that awakening is not only something that awakening and affecting the environment around you is not only something that affects something you physically touch, but maybe it is through unseen means, possibly, and this is a very big stretch and I could be wrong, maybe the awakening itself is not just in what you touch, but an area around you as well. Because think about it. Luffy didn't touch Nami or Law or Kid or anything, but in the vicinity of Luffy, they all had cartoon eye-popping effects just happen to them as they look in utter shock as Luffy's ginormous and large face comes shooting into the performance hall again. So I would like to believe that awakening not only affects things that you touch, but just affects a whole area around you. So not only opponents you're fighting physically are affected, but the people who are in the vicinity or in the field of effect are affected by it as well. Going through this whole thing, this was just a massive fight between Luffy and Kaido, where Luffy's just messing with Kaido. Want to use Kaido as a jump rope? Yep, go ahead. Want to turn into a giant in order for me to use Kaido as a jump rope? Yep, gonna do that too. Get swallowed by Kaido? Let me inflate myself inside of him and then shoot my hands through his eyes to launch myself back out. That alone was the funniest thing. It was the funniest thing I saw in this chapter. I'm looking at it right now and I'm trying to keep myself from giggling. Crazy. This whole chapter was crazy. Luffy's devil fruit is the personification of freedom and insanity. Because only someone like Luffy, who constantly thinks outside of the box, would be fighting Kaido this way. It's crazy how his body got affected by this. Since his fruit is a mythical Zoan, it has sense Luffy is affecting everyone around him. Yeah, I mean, sure, that's the case, but it's just because it's mythical doesn't mean that it will immediately affect the area around you. Because I would stand to reason, what's to keep Katarina Devon's devil fruit of being able to disguise herself from affecting other people around her? We haven't seen anything like that, nor have we seen Marco's flame. We've seen him use his flames on people, but we haven't seen him transfer his power towards other people and affect people towards that manner outside of healing them. We haven't seen it that way. We haven't seen what happens with Sengoku and his Buddha form and whether it can awaken or affect the area around him. Then again, I'm speaking from people who have not shown to have awakened abilities yet, so that's probably not a really good example. My bad. My apologies. Retract. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's what mythical Zoan fruits can do, especially if they're of the supernatural nature. They can not only affect the opponents that they're fighting, but also just people just by being, maybe it's specific to mythical Zoans, or maybe it's just an extra effect of awakening. Because if you think about it, Doflamingo wasn't touching every single thing in Dressrosa, but numerous buildings were just turning into string, even though he wasn't near them. So I feel like when it comes to awakened devil fruits, and then I'll probably get off this soapbox about it. When it comes to awakened devil fruits and them affecting the area around them, there's an area of effect that anything inside that area of effect will get affected by it, whether it's people or things, or just animate objects or inanimate objects. So that's just what I'm thinking, but it's just a small thing. Who knows? I'm gonna come back to this real quick and go to the awakening and see if it has expanded. Yes. Okay, so upon the fruit awakening, the user's physical appearance and abilities are transformed. Upon transforming, the user takes on more of Nika's characteristics and constant laughter. In Luffy's case, his hair and eyebrows turn white, his eyes glow with white rings, and white clouds float around his neck. Similarly to the clouds of steam that accompany him while using Gear 4. So it's not steam, it's just regular white clouds. The user and those around them also begin to take cartoon-like effects, such as their eyes popping and cartoonish welts appearing after a head injury. So they changed it, where it's not just opponents, but just people around him. In terms of their abilities, Awakening gives the user's rubber body significantly greater physical strength, we know, and freedom, and powers equivalent to an awakened Paramecia and awakened Zoan user. Now, the thing is, we haven't seen an awakened Zoan user other than the Minotaur guards in Impel Down. So it stands to reason that I really hope that Kaido is able to do Awakened as well, because we've never seen an awakened Zoan user who still has their sense of self. When it comes to the Minotaur guards of Impel Down, they just seem like overly muscle-bound, but they have really, really big heads, and they seem sort of childlike. But we've never seen an awakened Zoan user who functions mentally on a regular human level. Because the Minotaur guards you could just see as just muscle-headed brutes. That's it. But we've never seen someone of Kaido's caliber using Awakening as a Zoan user and, still keep their entire sense of self. So hopefully, maybe we'll see an Awakening from Kaido. But going back through here, powers equivalent to an awakened Paramecia and awakened Zoan user. Similarly to the powers bestowed by an awakened Paramecia Devil Fruit, the user is able to transform their surroundings into rubber, which can then be used to reflect projectile attacks such as Kaido's Bolo Breath. But unlike awakened Paramecia Devil Fruits, the awakened user is able to transform both living surfaces and non-living surfaces into rubber. So unlike regular awakened Paramecias, Luffy's Devil Fruit allows him to affect living things as well. Because with Doflamingo and his awakening, he can't turn people into string, but he can turn inanimate objects into string. Luffy is able to affect both the living and non-living with his Devil Fruit, which means that there is basically nothing that is out of reach for him to affect with his awakening. However, similarly to the powers bestowed by an awakened Zoan Devil Fruit, the user also undergoes a transformation upon awakening, in this case into the Sun God Nika. In this state, Luffy's heartbeat takes on a musical rhythm which has been described by Zunisha as the drums of liberation. Notably, not only is this heartbeat the mechanism by which the user is able to awaken the fruit... Wait, what? So Luffy's heartbeat, beating like the drums of liberation, is what causes the awakening to happen. Not only is this heartbeat the mechanism by which the user is able to awaken the fruit, it is also the source and origin of the user's awakened powers. Without it, the user will quickly revert to their normal state. So as long as Luffy's heart is beating like the drums of liberation, he is in the Gear 5 awakened state. While the user is in their awakened state, which Luffy calls Gear 5, they are gifted with a number of powers. Firstly, the user is able to manipulate and control their rubbery body into any shape they choose, which appears to only be limited by the user's imagination. This includes, but is not limited to, the user being able to switch into and out of Gear 3rd at will, to transform their head into the shape of an opponent's weapon, and to transform their whole body into that of a giant. Secondly, the user gains abilities similar to a cartoon character. For instance, like the Looney Tunes cartoons, and this is the wiki saying this. For instance, like the Looney Tunes cartoons, Luffy is able to run on air and propel himself a great distance. Thirdly, the user gains regenerative characteristics that, at least while in their awakened form, can bring them back from a near-death state, giving them increased energy and give them increased resistance to physical attacks due to their rubber body gaining greater physical strength. Due to these abilities, it is said by the world government that in all the world there is no power more ridiculous than the awakened abilities of the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika. This is crazy. And then here it says, Gaspard and Charlotte Katakuri both mimic the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika's rubbery physiology via their devil fruits that allow them to turn their bodies into a substance that possesses elastic properties. Gaspard Ame Ame no Mi turns his body into candy syrup, while Katakuri's Mochi Mochi no Mi turns his body into sticky mochi, which he can stretch forward very much like Luffy. Like all Zoan devil fruits, the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika has a will of its own. Other characters have imitated the naming pattern of the fruit's technique. Oars has used an attack called Gum Gum no Shiri Mochi during his fight against the Straw Hats. In the anime, Bentham tried to fool Magellan by using Gum Gum no Okama Pistol, Okama Gatling, Okama Giant Scythe, though he only copied the naming pattern and not the attacks themselves. Let's see. Both Gecko Moria and Charlotte Brule were able to imitate the usage of the Hito Hito no Mi model Nico using their devil fruits, the Kage Kage no Mi and Mira Mira no Mi, respectively. While Brule mirrored the techniques herself, Moria used Kage Kura Kakume to manipulate or shadow to perform the attacks. Wow, so a lot of people have been emulating this fruit so often. And then we have here, Luffy has far more named devil fruits than any. Okay, we already know about it. This is the first devil fruit, specifically the first Zoan type depicted in the series. We know that. In Romance Dawn version 2, the Hito Hito no Mi model Nico was estimated by Luffy's grandfather to be worth 5 billion berries. Isn't that the berry count that a lot of people were kinda hoping that Luffy's new bounty would be? 5 billion. Coincidentally, also the same one estimated by Diaz Barrels for the Ope Ope no Mi before Rocinante took it. So interesting. Can't wait to see Luffy animated. This moment is going to be legendary. It's one thing to see this chapter. It's one thing to see this chapter now and everything that's going on, but it's going to be a whole different vibe when we see Luffy's full transformation, animated and in motion. I mean, granted, we still need to get past Roof Piece. And hold on, let me see. Are they still on hiatus for the anime? I would like to believe that they're on hiatus still. Yeah, still, there's no new episode. They're on indefinite hiatus until they let us know. So we got a ways to go, especially with as many Sundays as we had to endure with no new episodes of One Piece. It's going to be a hot minute before we get to Looney Tunes Luffy. Looney Luffy. That's his new name. Not Gear 5, not Awakened Luffy, Looney Luffy. That's his new name. His new name. I'm coining it. I don't know if anyone else has said it throughout the One Piece reaction community, but let me be the one to say that this is now Lunar Luffy. Not Bounce Man, not Snake Man, not Tank Man. Looney Luffy. Did I say Lunar Luffy? Looney Luffy. Did I say Luffy? Did I say Lunar? Did I actually say Lunar Luffy? I'm actually listening to what I'm saying now. It's not Lunar Luffy, Looney Luffy. Looney Luffy. I'm coining the name. Looney Luffy. But oh boy. All of this would be rather interesting and cool to see and have implemented in a video game, Muso, RPG, or fighting. Yep, they're on hiatus. It is not confirmed, but some rumor that they might resume back on May. Okay, so we gotta, if that's the case, then we have a bit of a whole month for no One Piece. So we're gonna have a lot of catching up to do when the episodes come back. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. This was a crazy chapter. Seeing Luffy go out like that, manhandling Kaido like it was nothing at all. He got point blank hit by a bolo breath, and he shook it off. Like, he shook off the ash that was on him. He was all like, that does it. And he just dusted himself off, getting hit with a blast that can blow up entire castles and mountains and just obliterate them. He gets hit point blank, and he doesn't have a scratch or singe mark on him. See, it's one thing for it's one thing for Luffy to shape his body around Kaido's teeth to keep himself from being cut into by the teeth, but it's another thing for Luffy to come out of a full-on Godzilla beam attack. And with no singe marks and no marks on him. I told you, this devil fruit is kind of broken, because he's only limited by his imagination. And like I said before, Luffy has a very big imagination. Toon Force Luffy or Looney Luffy. Yeah, I like Looney Luffy because it still keeps with the L's. Even though this chapter was a W, there was no L's in this chapter except for the L in Luffy's Looney form. That's his Looney form. Looney Gear. Looney Gear! Not Gear 5. Looney Gear. Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd, Gear 4th, and Gear Looney. I'm just gonna keep coming up with different nicknames for this. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. Let me not keep you here any longer than I already have. We can talk about this so much more at a later time. All I know is that Luffy, with all of this power, and this is the first time he's using Awakening, and he's just going up against Kaido, just almost effortlessly, and then he drops Kaido by punching through his face and out of the back of his head. How does one respond to this? This chapter brings you back to when Luffy used Arlong's teeth to try use Arlong's teeth and tried to eat Crocodile. Great chapter, great stream. Looney Luffy, Looney Gear. Yeah, hashtag it. Let everyone know that you heard it here first. Looney Luffy is here, ladies and gentlemen. Gear 5. Like, seriously, this is what this is. But I enjoyed this chapter. This was good. It got me out of my seat. I flabbergasted is not even the word that I would use, but flabbergasted is how I feel about this chapter right now. Amazingly flabbergasted. But seriously, though, this was a good chapter. It's going to be a hot minute before we see it animated, though. But that's all I got. Great chapter. Hope you all enjoyed. I had a fantastic time reading it. I had a fantastic time doing the voices for it as well, as you know I do. And all I can say is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel, and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing or even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples. Now, letting you guys know, once I get my food and I ate and I've already eaten it, then I'll have the stream for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands up after I upload the final epilogue part, the finale video for my Tiny Tina's playthrough. I'll upload this after I'm done with this. Then after I'm done eating and getting my food, then I'll have a stream up where we can continue playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So Brandon, if you're up for it, I will hit you up so that you and I can go ahead and cause some mayhem while we got the time. So, yeah, that's all I got. Later, peoples. Have a good one. Enjoy yourselves. Watch some Looney Tunes, because I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the last time we see it referenced.